motorist or a police officer first? Oh, the pilot first, and I've background in offshore oil and gas. We've got 10 years of that. V8 is going way too fast. I think you should get up there and actually chase it down. And the Spitfire's just taken off too. So what's the kind of, I mean, how does it work? You're based where, by the way? We're based at Western Airport. We've got the helicopters there.
Is this the best spot?
Yeah, we're going to do something. Pretty much, yeah. So we're
It's got the round windows. The one in the front is the Spitfire.
Of these magnificent machines with those Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, not one but two, with both the Mustang and the Supermarine Spitfire. Basically, in a tribute to the pilots who flew them in the 23.
Yes, the way I think too. The Spitfire, obviously, without too important to, was one of the most formidable. But it's been done up as that Spitfire that was flown by several people in four times.
The great Tubby Gibbs, one of the best pilots we produced in World War II, who fought in North Africa and then came back to the Pacific, a remarkable warrior and a gentleman. And
I guess seeing that has quite a lot of impact, the fact that they are now within the Air Force.
It's incredibly valuable to see that it's Air Force owned, Air Force operated. Our pilots are getting to fly in these machines, to display them to you, the public, so that you can share in the history, the science, the sounds, the smells of these old aircraft, and feel that connection to those that came before us.
That lieutenant right there, actually.
Yeah, that's the Mustang flying to Spitfire. Yeah, that's the Mustang.
Before they became Air Force airplanes, and with the handover of the airplanes to the Air Force, they also handed us over to the Air Force too. So we've traded officers, yes, that's right, traded to the Air Force to continue flying these magnificent.
we're seeing the caption there. Most people would notice the P-51 Mustang. It was built in Australia. We're the only country outside the US where that happened. Why CA-18?
So it's CA. Australian Melbourne produced fighters, they built the CA-18 rather than P-51, which would be American built.
It's the same engine effectively as the Mustang, the same engine that's in
through the door.
What's your sort of bread and butter, like the most common kind of eye-rolling shop that you get sent up to? I guess looking, trying to track cars, I suppose.
Well, that's a big part of it at the moment. But again, you just don't know what comes through the door. You could be on a car chase and all of a sudden you've got a report of someone drowning down the peninsula, and off you go down there, and lots of places to get fuel so you can walk out the door in the morning and not come back until late at night.
Now, 20 years ago, I lived a couple of doors up from the police, chopper pilot, and at the time he was doing a lot of tiling in his backyard, and there were a couple of times when he was doing very slow circles around his house. I reckon he was checking out his tiling from the air. What do you reckon?
I don't know about that.
How would you know about that? Look, mate, great to talk.
Airspeed and wind chill pretty much the same. So wind chill twice the weight, twice the
Six
power.
times zoom. What a game changer, Apple.
But there's also the A, the B, the E. Which one is this one?
This is an A version, and it's number 77, so it's the last off the production line. That's why it's really important for a 100 squadron to have.
So great that you guys maintain these things. The Windchill was actually a Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation development. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's right.
All of these aircraft basically now within
Oh, look at this mother.
is actually prestige sort of.
Not really sure, but I'm just looking at these. But 100 Squadron has all these airplanes. There's 17 different types of airplanes. When you consider most units just have one or two types, there are 17 flying types of 100 Squadron. So it's a great heritage unit to be part of. And a lot of people that come in and out of the unit, they operate similar types or their own types similarly. So people who are flying the Spitfires or the Mustangs, they've got deep experience in similar types. And so that's why we get them to utilise within 100 Squadron.
So how many...
Mothering the student along in many ways to gain their confidence and challenge. When they move to another lower aircraft and they've learned a lot of basic skills,
This is
sitting in the back of the
Japanese.
PC9 or a 21, all you can see is the helmet movement at the top of the ejection seat, but you're talking a lot back and forward in the cockpit, so that's where the communication is vital.
And her position relative to the ground. You know, you can see that she was getting pretty low when she did the inverted pass as she's doing here. She's actually quite low, so you've got to maintain that level, but you're upside down, and so everything that was on your left is...
Are you actually communicating with each other during the...
Yeah, there's communication.
The question is, are they just flying up and down the runway, or are they actually going to do a demo? Demo, yay!
Were you trying to keep your wing onto his windshield so he couldn't see? Was that a tactic?
Yeah, I did my wing in a few things before, but I wasn't trying to touch anything this time. So, I'm actually sitting there pretty good. My wingtip's about 1 metre away from his head while he's driving, and then I try and spray snow all over his windscreen so he doesn't know where he's going.
Guys, it is one of the great spectacles of the air show. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time, and happy racing.
Thank you very much.
Well, Matt, over to you. See you guys. magnificent piece of military hardware above our heads. Talk us through it.
We do indeed. We got a spectacular display from the helicopter right now. With you is Seahawk pilot and also qualified flying I'm jealous. Where did you go to?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. So it's been nearly 10 years since I've been flying the Hawk, and did my conversion for a year in America down in Florida. So it was a nice little treat to do that. And then been operating out of Maryland now for the last 9 years, living in sunny Delta State.
So the MH-60 Seahawk is basically the Navy's premier combat helicopter. How good is it?
Yeah, it is world leading. So we're very much a jack of all trades for the Navy and aviation. Its primary design is a submarine hunting helicopter, but we could be reconfigured to be surface warfare. We can 4 helicopters on the side, 50 tons longer, or we can go to search and rescue, utility operations, and everything in between. So very capable. Yeah, so essentially we've been having 13 variants of Black Hawk helicopters since the end of Vietnam, and each year they've got something new to it. So it is really expensive and good to keep. And the fact that we've got about 4
And that's an interesting tailplane configuration for a chopper. Not that I know a great deal about choppers, but tell us what's going on at the rear end.
Yeah, so we've got a countertail that provides a little bit of thrust up there too. What Marta is doing at the moment, our other display pilot, is just kind of demonstrating the raw power of the Seahawk. So a 360-degree climbing turn, using power pedal also, and then down to the right and to the left. So it fully challenging but enjoyable. We do day and night ops at all kinds of high sea states all across the world, and the ship essentially takes us where we need to go. So quite versatile. We'll pack it up, chuck it on the roof, and the world on the road.
When you say pack it up, what happens?
Well, that's the unique part about the naval variants of Black Hawk and Seahawk. So we can snap the tail in half, it folds in on itself, turns into a bit of a transformer, and all the blades come back behind itself, and that allows us to stack them like sardines in a hammock.
And what other sort of missions does it undertake? Not just anti-submarine, anti-surface, but anti-submarine?
Yeah, so that's our primary duty when we go international operations, but on the home front too, for national emergencies, we get worked in all the time too. So over the last few years, unfortunately, there's been lots of fires and floods and stuff like that. We'll help out where we can. We try to just gut the helicopter as well as to get those
So tell us a bit about the actual crew formation.
Our standard crew, which we operate tactically, so we have the aircraft captain, who's in charge of safety of the overall helicopter, sits on the warfare officer, that's our mission commander, who's leading the tactical communications and putting the whole
You did actually say yesterday because when he's performing instead of yourself, he does it all better than you.
Yeah, well, Marto is my boss, so I completely agree with you. Yeah.
You're going to go a long way. You said you don't go backwards. Are they review mirrors?
We do have rear view mirrors, yeah, so sometimes it is nice to see how your engines and motor head are performing also, so that's what we're there for. Not necessarily the backwards flying that we do in the display.
When you're not going backwards, you're going forwards, at what sort of speeds can we do?
Yeah, all helicopters generally get up to about the 300 km/h mark, and we're no different. The problems we have that affect that maximum speed is when we bolt on all those weapons and make the aircraft quite ready. There's Marto demonstrating the wheel now, so he'll hold that attitude up there and pretty much hold it on that rear tail strut, and then let the helicopter naturally start coming backwards, and he moves into what's called a Hollywood takeoff. So you'll see this in nearly every Hollywood movie is the normal departure for a pilot, but you probably only see it today with the military aviator doing this. Again, we like to take off to the perspective. So it's obviously some harmony as well. Yeah, so our normal for anti-submarine warfare, or fighting a submarine will have 25 fire out per passenger. The big powerful tool that we have that deploys at the bottom of the helmet. We've got a heavy on circle of coal at the back of the door right now, giving us all away, so it's not coming out today. Obviously, flying a naval flight, we don't really want to fly naval. And he's currently the executive officer of our squadron on the Seahawk Romeo.
Which one is Jet in? Jet's in the little red one. So
number 2.
The Ace, which is number 2. But we got Ace 1 and Ace 2, Ace 4, which will take off first. So you got Paul Bennett and Glenn, I call his big block. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to witness some aerial aerobatics that will keep you awake for the next 3 months, I tell you. We have got smoke on with Ace 1 and Ace 4, so that's Paul Bennett and Glenn Collins. Now, to the right and the north in the Baby 360 Jets. What a great 18th birthday present you could get for that. The little red 360. And of course the S1, which is the baby of all these planes. Next to them with the one and only Glenn Collins. So we're about to take off. Wave your hands in the air. Now take that you are ready for one heck of a show as we have our first opposition pass for the Sky Aces here at Avalon.
Oh, definitely tearing up, Rusty.
Where he got his first formation. We talk about aerobatics, but formation. But let's come back towards each other at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. As the ground shakes here at the Avalon Airshow. So they'll turn around, and if I look up on my screen, we'll see these 4 planes will form together for the first time in an echelon. There's Jet and Glenn through that smoke there. So they'll form up now.
Jet is on his way.
Now, Paul is flying this show. All the others are following whose formations. We come into a beautiful, look how tight those planes are in the loop. There's one thing to do a loop, it's to do it inches from your dad is another story. As they come back down. Massive G's there, inches from each other. They're getting more tight than this barrel roll. A 4-shoot barrel roll. Come on, Avalon, make some noise. You are watching one of the best formation teams on or just off this planet. just got that thing in, and on the big screen, you are watching live. I don't know if we can get some noise out of the crowd, if we can make them look loud. We might turn around and see if we can get a second lead. What do you think, Avalon? Show some appreciation for the Sky team. Well, look, you weren't noisy enough. We're going to get two. And again, we can't emphasise on the difficulty of being just close, so close to each other. There's his son at the tail there. What do you think, Avalon? Do you want one more? I reckon we can do one more. Let's do a three loop. Here with the Sky Aces. So at the top of this loop, you'll see the orange paint, the S11X, breakaway. That's Glenn Big Block Collins. What he does now is, well, he just does some freestyle. You'll see him now looping through that paint, the rolls, snap rolls, as he brings that machine down. Over to your left, Paul will be coming back in through here as well. Here comes the should get jet inverted, giving the bird. And now Dad, Paul Bannock, is looping around. Come on, Avalon, put your hands together for the full ship Sky Ace team. So the orange paint looks straight up. Where do you look? You've got planes everywhere. So, 3 and 2 will dart off. Glenn Graham putting on some absolutely mind-blowing stunts above us. And you see Paul in the yellow pitch crowd. I think he's got a little across his own. I want a piece of that. He will. I think he gets a piece of his own actually a little bit later on, doesn't he? He certainly does. He certainly does. So beautiful rolls there in these biplanes. That orange plane you see above us now. The different fuselages in the yellow aircraft. They're running all the componentry.
Lifeline at the RAF Security and Fire School.
Where are they based?
We're in Anderley, and we run the breeding and development program, which is basically like primary school and high school before the dogs go on to be MWDs.
Okay. And what stage are these gorgeous dogs at?
Right now, I would probably call this kindy.
This is kindy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a dog lover. What breed are these dogs, Sarah?
This is the Belgian Malinois.
Belgian Malinois, okay. And what is it about these dogs that make them so suited to be trained as Air Force working dogs?
Well, as you can see from Apollo and Avalon here, they're extremely intelligent. They're also extremely active, agile, and they've got great health and physical attributes.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, look, we believe we have the Spitfires about to take off, but they're barely stealing the stage from these one climbers. Sarah, thank you so much for showing us such a different part of your
So we have the Spitfire and the Mustang carrying to the left of aircraft.
Is about to take off from the right. It's going to be very loud. One of them is at any rate. You will see how they interact, how one platform supports the other. And it's an eye-opening exercise to see how interoperability and all the dependency that one platform has on another. And it's no such thing as, let's say, Spitfire going out and winning the Battle of Britain all its own. It is one part of a chain of assets that is part of our warfighting capability.
Yes, and it goes for about 40 minutes. I'm going to step out so that the ADF Showcase commentators can come on. I'll leave you with it, Tony.
Thank you, Angela. So we're joining me back in the commentary booth. It's Flight Lieutenant Fred Hinsey and Drew Outsider. El Presidente, Neil Whitehead. Yeah, well, I keep hearing the rest of Good Morning Clothes.
What are we seeing here? It's something of an elephant walk, I guess you could call it.
Kind of in a way. We've seen two of our top-range fighters for the Royal Australian Air Force. Of course, the F-35A Lightning II and the FA-18F Super Hornet at 1 Squadron. And while we get underway here with the Australian Defence Force Showcase today, we also have to say happy birthday to the commanding officer of 1 Squadron, who's celebrating a birthday today, Wing Commander Trent Baldry. So he's celebrating a birthday. Got to get that in early before I get in trouble for doing that from Trench himself.
Well, that is a very prestigious posting in the Royal Australian Air Force. There are a few squadrons as storied as number 1 Squadron. Its service in World War II was exceptional, of course, as we know, and a long-time operator of the F-111. That's a great posting to have.
Absolutely. No, look, I've known Trent since we were teenagers. We were cadets together at number 8 Flight QRTC in Queensland at RAF Base Amberley, and now he is the commanding officer of number 1 Squadron base at RAF Base Amberley. And it's fantastic to see.
Guy Burke was one of those who was then anointed. You are now a flight lieutenant, and welcome to the reserves.
Now, run us through the importance of 100 Squadron, because obviously based not just at Point Cook, but Temora as well.
That's right. So we've got the two fleets, the old RAF Museum fleet that 100 Squadron was reformed in 2021 to operate, as well as then the collection donated from the museum up at Temora, which is a larger collection.
Hornet, and they're about to take off, so it is going to get very loud during this Australian Defence Force Showcase, so please make sure you've got hearing protection, especially for the kids.
You get the opportunity. It's incredible. We're talking more than 80 years since the aircraft was introduced to the service. The sound, the smell.
Okay, I think that's the key to me, is when I first heard that Spitfire, I was out of crowd, and was probably about 10 minutes of the aircraft went through the moment, which is going to be something you've never seen before, particularly at an Australian International Airshow here at Avalon. We're going to see a mixed formation, but keep an eye out. And here out from your left, here comes the F-35A Lightning II.
Before they come on the right.
With the F-35A Lightning II and the FA-18F Super Hornet, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a nice camera shot here from the front with your mixed formation.
The Spitfire and Mustang coming in for another pass. Another great opportunity to get your cameras out. Don't forget to share those because I know number 100 Squadron would love to see your photos.
We had one mission which lasted 17.1 hours, which is crazy.
Do you get to take a cushion with you?
It does get very uncomfortable, and I think just about everybody after about 14 hours, because I did a 16.3-hour mission, which is like flying from Sydney almost to France. You know, it's that length of time. Whereas if you're in a passenger jet, no real problem, you can sleep.
Craft coming to land, so grab a couple of photos of this. You won't see this too often flying around. And of course the Australian Defence Force is absolutely proud to present this showcase here for you today, showcasing our capabilities, obviously showing number 100 Squadron, which is our heritage fleet of aircraft, everything from World War I aircraft right through
to the big 20mm cannon and the four-bladed prop, which is unlike the version that flew in the Battle of Britain, which had 4 303 Browning machine guns. So it's a later model, but
maybe kind of a free
in the airspace. The P8 side can fly as low as 100 feet over the ocean. We wouldn't normally see them over land. And of course, the Seahawk Romeo often operates off the back of the ship. Within the Australian Defence Force. With our anti-submarine, anti-surface search and rescue helicopter, it really is a true multi-role helicopter with what it can do off the back of a Navy ship. And we've seen a lot of these in action, particularly during search and rescues of late, where we had a P8 beside him coming in, and we had a Lithuanian man who was in I think a small boat off of Queensland, and he had to be brought in before Tropical Cyclone Alfred that of course went through recently. And that was all done by our coalition efforts of the Air Force and Navy working closely together.
You can see the Sorry, and that was just simulating dropping one of the weapons. They were really they have good situation awareness, so it's not like they're working on their own. Whether working off a ship or working with a Poseidon or an E7 or any other source, so in that Link 16 network we'll be able to see the picture that we produce.
The great thing about the MH16 here is Romeo, which we have 24 of these and another 12 ordered. We should expect that delivery a little later on this year and into next year as well. So we'll give a few more of these amazing next generation helicopters.
You see the MH60 do the spiraling cannon, which is quite a difficult maneuver, I'm told.
Now, one of our Australian Defence Force pilots learned to fly at his Force pilots, including Army and Navy aviators as well, including those guys you'll see in the aircraft here today.
All the holes on the side of the Romeo, you see a whole bunch of circles there.
Well, now you've asked the question, we will check that out.
All right, please, get back to it.
And sometimes you can see on weather radar when have been tweaked, because sometimes it'll actually show up and look like rain when they're not turning. So yeah, it's just a little often wet base, and there are thousands of people who go out to RAF Base Ambly every day to keep that operational, and just it is our biggest base in Australia. And I tell you what, working there is an absolute privilege. So on your right, you'll see the KC-30 coming through in a simulated fuel dispense with two F-35s and a Super Hornet. At RAF Base Ambly. This is also an incredible aircraft to fly in. And we should see all types of aircraft from AMG here today. You should see the C-27J Spartan, the C-130J Hercules, and the C-17
enormous C-17 Glowbuster.
So this aircraft is quite capable of landing on an unprepared strip, so it can land on grass. And what it's doing now is demonstrating on the flight. How that is
Today, the C-27 is flown by Gareth Gordon, aka Gordo, who graduated pilot's course in 2006. He flew the Caribou until 2009. He was roulette 7 for several seasons and then instructed on the PC-9, amassing about 1,500 hours. He's flown the Spartan since 2014 and became one of the first instructors on time.
Now you're going to see some of our security forces running out the back, off the back ramp of the C.
That's a dad joke, is that right here?
No bad joke today. So if you're right, we're going to see some of our fast jets coming through to protect the airfield as well. Whilst the C-27J Spartan is on the ground. You see the ramp is going up there again and again. Do a fairly tactical short takeoff. These are remarkable aircraft to fly on, particularly when they do come into...
That's our anniversary, and we also are working in close proximity with the ground forces to provide protection for them as well. So,
and this is where the role of the mission commander really comes into his own, right?
Absolutely it does, yeah.
Absolutely, and right now they would be controlling the C-130J Hercules, which is flying over to do a circle before it comes into land.
So notice just on the far side of the runway there's some smoke, which presumably is there to identify where the Charlie 130 is going to land. And at the same time, the C-27 Spartan departs. As you said, C-27s most notably conducted almost continuous deployments in the Southwest Pacific, including PNG and Fiji.
very shortly we'll see some of our FA-18F Super Hornets and F-35A Lightning IIs come through with that Overwatch. And normally in this battle space, we would, as we've been saying, Neil, you would be in an E7 wedgetail right over the top, keeping an eye on things, making sure that the battle space is safe.
We are providing that coordination between all the different assets. So we follow a thing called an air task order and use that and use flexibility to make sure that everything works as it should do.
And you'll see our F-35A Lightning IIs coming through from the right.
The Kiwis currently have a brand new version of the Hercules. Are they
very new. Got that new car smell still inside. You go in for a look. And our mates from obviously the New Zealand Defence Force, is great to have them here today. And of course our Papua New Guinean mates as well.
Please go and see them. They're terrific.
And they're right next to the C-27J Spartan, so you can go and have a look through that as well. And also on display is our C-17 Globemaster 3. So you can go up for a look inside the back there and just see how big that aircraft actually is. So on your right, we've got the C-130J Hercules coming into land, and with more security forces which will operate and come out of the back of the aircraft.
So the guys that are already on the ground, what have they done? They've just effectively secured an airfield?
That's right. So basically they've come, this is one security forces squadron, so their role is to secure an airfield to make it safe for aircraft to land. With more Overwatch there from our fast jets coming in from the rear of the C-130J Hercules as it comes into land.
So we've been in contact with both the aircraft and the ground forces on the ground. We'd be building that picture in consultation with the E7, with the mission commander, as you spoke about before, and we really just be trying to maintain two-seat crew, so pilot, maintaining safety of flight, deconfliction and dealing with any air adversaries. The weapons systems officer in the back seat is the primary for communications with the ground forces, with other aircraft, and actually getting all of that information, programming the weapons and systems, and then we can have a very efficient and short time to weapons impact as well.
Do you think it's better working with two people in the aircraft or a single-seater?
Yeah, I personally do, so I'm biased because I fly the Super Hornet and I fly with weapon systems officers, but we often say in the community 1 + 1 = 3, just because we have two brains in the cockpit and we can quite often separate those cockpits and achieve multiple aspects at once before coming back together, syncing up and then achieving the mission as one aircraft, if that makes sense.
Now we have seen the ramp come down on the C-130J Hercules. Now comes number 2 security forces squadron, also to secure the airfield. So they're basically wrapped up
short, uncertain runways and airdrop cargo and parachutes by parachute.
Hercules, as a workhorse in defence forces around the world, over 50 years old. It's amazing to have this, still that airframe, that basic working airframe that still operates around the world now. And we're following more. With the F-35A Lightning IIs coming through again from you would see in the battle space, right? So when you're sort of shadows happening right now, you're talking about how you're speaking with, particularly the weapons systems officer, is speaking with the ground forces and all that. What sort of chat is happening?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of times we like to use the sterile environment so that any communication that is coming out is time critical and mission critical as well. So very little communication actually, and we have a lot of code words that we can use as well that mean different things, and we can talk about that in mission planning. So when we get to execution, it's a lot more seamless.
Now, if you squint very much to the north, you'll see security forces squadron. So what we'll see is a short tactical takeoff from the C-130J Hercules after a pass overhead from the Globemaster.
Now this Globemaster has been in the Navy Squadron Leader Dirk Taylor. With him is Harrison Gray, who's been in defence for 13 years from Brisbane, and Corporal Dalton King, who enlisted 2 days prior to the RFAAF centenary to become a Loadmaster.
More overwatch happening right now from our FA-18 and our
What do you make of that? A huge aircraft, low altitude, steep angle of bank.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible, and it's awesome that we can put it on display here at Avalon and really showcase the capability of all the aircraft, but in particular a few like the C-17.
When you go into this thing at the static display, it is just enormous. Massively capable aircraft. It's a part of the airlift fleet and capable of strategic delivery all over the world.
Here come the FA-18F Super Hornets again, followed by the T-72.
So right now would be a great time actually where the ground forces are being in contact with a weapons systems officer. They'll be talking them through, hey, we potentially have a target that we need to strike right now, and then be passing that that information through what we call a 9-line, so what the target is, what the description is, more importantly where the friendly forces are, reference that target, what type of weapon we need, what type of fusing, and what you'll see here very soon, ladies and gentlemen, is a simulated weapons pass from both the F-35s and the F-18F Super Hornet.
And there is some pyro ahead.
Get your cameras out for a photo on this.
And you'll have a JTAC here, won't you? Can you just tell us what they do, Clutch?
Yeah, so Joint Terminal Attack Controller, absolutely. So they'll be the primary person that is calling in that strike and is passing the information of where the friendly forces are. So a really, really critical person in this Overwatch mission where we are using all of our
That ramp will come down fairly quickly as well, and you'll see a really fast move from our security forces back onto the aircraft to get into a safe environment so that they can take off.
And it's already reconfiguring for takeoff, so you'll see that the flaps, which were providing a huge amount of additional lift, and now are redeploying it into the wings. The spoilers on top of the wings will basically go back into the wing, and at the same time the cargo door is open.
Here we go for our first weapons pass. symbology of exactly where they are, so we can be very precise with friendly forces, and it is very important as well.
You see the security forces redeploying to get back on the C-17. It's capable of carrying 102 troops or paratroopers, 36 litter and 54 ambulance patients. It carries 170,000 pounds of fuel or 18 pallets of cargo. It carries a tank as well, which is amazing.
And 2 Apaches. Now the great thing is all of these careers are available to anyone who'd be interested in joining the ADF. So just go to adfcareers.gov.au. We have Defence Force recruiting here as well. You can
yes, boys.
One of our security personnel that just ran on board the aircraft, right through to aircrew like fire. Everyone starts somewhere, don't they, mate?
Absolutely they do, and I remember exactly that feeling of being a kid here in the crowd watching all the displays, and then feels like I blinked and I'm right here right now.
So growing up, you watched obviously Riverfire in Brisbane. You mentioned that earlier, and you got to fly that last year.
Yeah, I sure did. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity, but definitely that childhood dream that I had as a kid watching the display.
What do you see during that time?
Not a lot of buildings. Yeah, a lot of buildings, unfortunately, which is not something that we see quite often in the airspace or in a display like this. But you're very focused on every manoeuvre they got here.
How close are you to some of those buildings? Because the photography seems to compress it, but they're amazing images. How close are you?
Yeah, so our minimum distance that we have is we need to be outside of 250 feet, so less than 100 metres from the buildings, which is quite close, but it takes a lot of preparation and planning and simulator events before we actually get authorised to go in and fly the display.
So you'll hear the engine spooling up in the C-78 now.
Very impressive.
There's a lot of power there.
So that is the C-17 Globemaster operated by 36 Squadron at Iraq Base Amberley. We will see a Pacific, basically a PACAF C-17 later on doing a display.
That is an American Air Force one based in Hawaii, and that is a very spirited display as well. Well, I think the good guys won.
I think the good guys did win.
That's always good.
And that brings out...
It could be one of either the Super Hornet or the Lightning II that's just broken.
Flown by Glib and Weapon Systems Officer of Bam Bam. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a wave as they pitch into the socket.
To each individual pilot of the F-35, they have to be specially fitted for it. It's a very expensive bit of kit, but it does a great job, a very important job. All of the information, instead of being on a glass screen, mounted at the frame of the aircraft, it's projected on the glass screen, it's under the pilot's face. So have a look at that and you can focus enough to see it. As that 2 OCU F-35 rolls out.
Doing some aerodynamic braking and keeping the nose up.
It's a 77 Squadron aircraft, I believe.
Here we go, Leonardo. I'll be back shortly.
So you actually get given like something to actually sort of, carry you through the application process, do you?
Yeah, that's correct. You sort of get a mentor on the way. So looking at the so people who actually in uniform like myself to tell you about the different roles in the military do, they can guide you through the process, what roles might be good for you, depending on your personality, interests, classes, skills, qualifications, etc.
And what are looking for you young people, aren't you, Jonty?
Yeah, definitely. We're looking for young people. So you can apply as young as 16.5 years old, but we're also looking for older people as well. Some people who might want to consider a career change midway through their life.
Oh, yes. Midway, yep, go on.
Yeah. So I joined at 25 years old, which I'm really glad that I did it, and I'm glad that I did it then, because it really worked out in the whole scheme of things for my life.
That's wonderful. And what's your career? You're in the Navy, aren't you?
Yes, correct.
And what's your career been like thus far, Jonty?
So
It was an absolute buzz, and I was extremely lucky not just to fly in this amazing jet, but also fly with Woody, who is our display pilot, and he has been since just before the last Avalon.
What can we expect of today?
Well, we can expect a lot of high G manoeuvres and sequences as the Rhino lines up here at the Australian International Airshow.
And we can expect pyro, so there will be pyro, just a warning to those who are easily startled. Also just a heads up to photographers as well.
Yeah, so you're in for some amazing photos here at the Australian International Airshow. And on behalf of Woody Langers and the entire team at 82 Wing, we want to welcome you along here to the Australian International Airshow and of course our FA-18F Super Hornet Australia. You can watch how they can seemingly point the nose wherever they want at almost any speed. You'll see the guns there. Coming in from the right. So watch how the Rhino seems to skid to a halt, a technique we can use to flush out an adversary to go on the offensive. Not that the Rhino before recovering level again. move. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time,
to work up a routine like this?
This is a constantly evolving routine, and moves like that slow loop were brought in particularly to do for the Avalon Airshow. So it takes weeks running the simulator and actually getting out into the aircraft to, here's the high-speed pass. So as you see them turning in from the right, you'll see the nose start to point upwards at 25 degrees higher than the aircraft's direction of travel. Now this is known as the angle of attack, with a Super Hornet capable of up to 50 degrees of angle of attack in a dogfight. So this slow speed performance is yet another capability that makes the Rhino such an intimidating aircraft to fly against. This is a great opportunity to get the cameras out and check out the current weapons loadout, which includes 2 short-range heat-seeking missiles on the wingtips and 2 long-range guided missiles on the wing pylons. And I know people will be asking, how many of these missiles can a Rhino hold? Well, a lot. They also have an internal terminal gun that fires at 100 rounds per second. Before pulling to the 7.5 G limit and climbing vertically in the blink of an eye. I'll give you a tip, there might be some fire on this one. Now again, with this move, the crew will be straining all of their muscles as the G-force is crushing back into their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, look to your right as Woody and Langers now fly in at high speed. They'll kick out into their circuit and configure for landing. protection of Australia, its borders and national interests. That readiness often means deploying and being away. Right, as the boys conduct their final salute to you by lighting the burners, and they'll squat the jet one last time.
It's going to make a lot of noise, so just enjoy and soak up the sound.
You're going to take off.
Probably put myself in the top 10. I went to America for 18 months over the fence. Did 2 summers over there, and 2 summers was enough. Definitely the place is extremely hot.
Ladies and gentlemen, photo opportunity.
Yeah, imagine having real problems.
Mine is the pedal board, so it's going to all strange to all controls in a corner, and it just starts
Flares all over the place.
Yep, and now it will start rotating the nose around the left, kind of like a bit of a front spin. As soon as he's pointing back to the front, he's going to controls back to the middle, and the jet's up on again.
Flat spin is something that a lot of aerobatic pilots don't want to get into. So like this.
The computers on this aircraft do it. Yeah. You basically tell it where you want it to go, and it'll hopefully do it.
So this, obviously, the 5th generation, latest capability, we've got absolutely brilliant aeroplane. How does it compare to the previous classic performance?
which you did fly, is that right?
Yeah, my heart still lays with the classic one, if I'm honest. If I could jump in one again now, I'd absolutely love to, but it's just chalk and cheese. What this aircraft can do compared to that is just unbelievable. The sensors on it are incredible. Little wave bands were over the else, so in a couple of years. So we actually get our head laser mapped. So we're custom shell, so it's extremely comfortable for noise cancelling unit.
Pass from the right.
There's actually cameras all around the aircraft, so we're
So what's he doing now? Is there a checklist? Come on.
Yeah, so every aircraft's got your pre-landing checklist. I used to use a lot of the landing aids after the displays because I was so fatigued, so we can tell it to fly on speed, which is the perfect speed for your fuel weight. And it'll just does it for you. I still manually fly where I'm trying to land. As soon as you touch down, as you go up and down,
Whatever.